commandments. Why? Man can't tell me nothing about this coke. Can't tell me nothing about this crack, this weed.
Alright guys, welcome back. So as you saw in that video, the Glock 19 clone that I built shoots very flat. So over here, the stock trigger that came in the SCT-19 was not good, as you could tell. There's a lot of creep. The break is crisp, but the reset is very long. And then when you want to do your follow-up shot, there's a lot of creep into it. So decided to get a Glock performance trigger over here. This is for a Gen 5. 19, 45, 19X, and some other models, but I want to put it in my Gen 3 frame. So disassembling the Glock clone over here. I currently have the back plate of a Gen 5 on this slide, as you can see, but it's metal. So I want the polymer one, so swap it out real quick, then install the new one. So it came with a Gen 4 back plate and then a Gen 5 back plate. I couldn't really tell the difference, so I put the one that was loose inside the packaging. There's one, as you can see in the back of the frame over there, there's one that came rubber band tied to the trigger, and there's one that came loose in the box. So I ended up putting this one and it fit perfectly. So as you can see, it functioned properly. It's nice and tight on there and it was solid. So putting that on. Now the trigger, so that's the Gen 3 trigger that came with the SCT-19, and this is the performance trigger. So side by side, you can see on the lower half that the prongs on the performance trigger are longer. They added like little prongs to it. So what we're gonna do is snip it real quick. Try to get it as even as possible. So snip both of them. And now as you can see, those little prongs are gone. So it's a little rough because obviously we chopped it off with a scissor, but you can see over here that it's pretty much even now. So it's kind of identical to the Gen 3 housing, but we're gonna sand it a bit. So I got my little sander, and now we're just gonna sand away a bit, just to smooth it out, and also so it could fit nice and flush inside the frame. So just a little bit, don't overdo it, because if you overdo it, it might not fit properly, and you don't want that. So now disassembling the SCT frame, so taking out the trigger. So the trigger I have in there right now is a Gen 5 19 trigger, and I did it with this trigger first. This is a stock 19 Gen 5 trigger. So I did the same process I'm showing you guys with the stock trigger because I wanted to see if it worked properly before I went and got a performance trigger. So it fit properly. The function was superior. It was good, and that's why I went and got a performance trigger. So I knew it was possible. So I did that, and then take out the pins, take out the locking block. Pretty simple. Just pull it right out, and then it should, yep, there you go. So the trigger with the housing comes right off. The slide stop comes right off. And I don't know if I show it on this one. Yeah, I don't show it, but I did the same process. I chopped off the prongs and then I sanded it in order to fit the Gen 3 frame. So this is, remember guys, this is a SCT-19 frame, but it's based off of a Gen 3 Glock. So all the internals are pretty much identical to a Glock 19 Gen 3. So after that, slide in the performance trigger. It should fit flush. So as you can see right there, it should fit nice and flush. And then all the pin for the housing should align properly. So when you go and put your little secure pin for the trigger, it should, you know, slip right in. It shouldn't, you know, be hard or nothing like that. If it doesn't go in, that means that you got to shave off a little bit more of the housing. So putting the pin right back in. Just make sure it's nice and in there. You don't want it uneven. You want it nice and secure. Now the pin is in. We're just going to test the trigger to make sure it functions properly. And as you can see, it's functioning properly. So now we're going to go ahead and put on the slide stop, slide release. Now just put in the firing block. Should click right in. As you can see, the slide stop fell off, but just grabbed it, just put it right back in. It's a little process because that thing, you know, it's kind of fidgety, so you have to line it nice and properly. Once that's in there, you put your slide stop back in, make sure it's nice and aligned. Then you grab your pin and it should slip right in. So once it's in there, you put the top pin on. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's like a little spring up there. You probably see a little better there. So that spring, make sure you push it down, and then the pin should be able to slide in nice and smoothly. So just like that. That's so that there's tension, you know, so when, you know, you got to do your quick reloads or your mag is empty, it catches on the mag, so the slide gets stuck in the back. So now you're just functioning, testing the function of the trigger. Everything looks solid on it. All the safeties of the Glock should still be there. You know, the 3 safeties that it has, it's a Glock part. So now you reassemble the slide. And now I put it back on the frame and it cycles good. But when I press the trigger, as you're going to see right now, it's starting to get stuck because the trigger is interfering with the what's it called, the slide stop. So it's hitting the slide stop pin and it's making the slide lock back, as you can see there. So what I did was I took it apart again. The trigger, I shaved it down. So the side of the trigger, on the left side of the trigger, as you can see right there, I shaved all of that. All of it, I shaved it. And well, basically I sanded it. So I grabbed one of the sanders that I have and then I sanded the trigger right on the side, just so it doesn't interfere with the slide stop release, because that's what was happening. The trigger was interfering with the slide stop and it was making it get caught up, so giving me, you know, slide lock. So I'll show you guys real quick. Now, as you can see on the left side of the trigger, it's shaved. So what was happening was it was getting caught up on that little pin for the slide stop. Now that it's shaved, it's not interfering with it, so it worked perfectly. So now I got a functioning performance trigger Gen 5 in a Gen 3 frame. So put the slide back on and it functions properly. So thanks guys for watching. If you got any questions, comment.